Imagine a single gesture unraveling a web of secrets, love, and long-buried betrayals. Benedict handing Sophie back her necklace is more than just a moment of jewelry being returned. It is a storm of emotions, a test of trust, and the tipping point of everything they've kept hidden from each other. What truths will finally surface, and can love survive when every word is weighed with suspicion and every glance carries a secret? The tension in the Bridgerton household was palpable. Every footstep, every soft rustle of fabric seemed louder than it should have been. Benedict entered, his presence commanding yet hesitant, carrying with him the weight of unspoken feelings. In his hand, the pendant that had caused so much uncertainty glimmered in the lamplight. It was not merely a piece of jewelry, it was a symbol of trust, of past misunderstandings, and of the fragile bridge between their hearts. Sophie, seated in a quiet corner, looked up as he approached, her eyes wide with a mixture of anticipation, fear, and hope. "I found it," Benedict began, his voice steady but lined with an undercurrent of emotion. Each word was deliberate, measured, as though he were testing the waters, gauging her reaction. "It belongs to you." The pendant gleamed between them, catching not only the light but every heartbeat in the room. Sophie's breath caught. This single act, so simple on the surface, carried with it a torrent of implication. It was an acknowledgement, an apology, and an invitation all at once. The room seemed to hold its breath. Sophie's fingers trembled as she reached for the necklace, her mind racing through every past slight, every whispered doubt, every unspoken confession. Could she trust him now? Did this gesture erase the moments where suspicion had clouded her heart, where she wondered if his love was ever as steadfast as hers? As she lifted the pendant, she traced its delicate curves, the silver catching the light like a reflection of their intertwined fates. Benedict's gaze did not waver. There was vulnerability in his eyes, a rare exposure of the man behind the composed exterior. He had carried this secret, this burden of misunderstanding for far too long, and now he was offering not just the necklace, but a chance at reconciliation. "I never meant to hurt you," he confessed, the words soft yet resonant, filling the space between them with an honesty that could no longer be ignored. Sophie's heart battled between relief and lingering doubt. Could love survive the shadows of the past, or had too much been left unsaid for too long? The conversation shifted subtly as they navigated the delicate terrain of truth and emotion. Every glance, every pause was loaded with meaning. Sophie could feel the weight of his unspoken words, and Benedict could sense her internal struggle, the careful balancing of hope and caution. This necklace was more than a token. It was a question posed in silver, asking if they could truly trust each other again. And just as the room seemed to settle into a fragile calm, an unexpected sound outside the door shattered the moment, a sudden reminder that their private world was never entirely theirs to command. Who was watching, and would the secrets they had long tried to bury finally come to light before they could reconcile? The moment outside the door was a reminder that in the world of Bridgerton, privacy was a fragile illusion. Every heartbeat seemed amplified, echoing through the silent hallways, as if the walls themselves were eavesdropping. Sophie clutched the necklace to her chest, feeling the cool weight of silver against her skin, a tangible anchor amidst the swirling uncertainty. Benedict, standing close, could feel her hesitation, the tremor in her hands, and the unspoken questions that hung heavy in the air. Their eyes met, and for a heartbeat, the room seemed suspended in time. "Benedict," Sophie's voice broke the silence, soft and tentative. "All this time, did you know? Did you know it was me?" Her question was not accusatory, but filled with raw vulnerability. She needed to know whether the love she had believed in so fiercely was rooted in truth or illusion. Benedict's jaw tightened. He took a slow step closer, careful not to crowd her, yet the intensity in his gaze made it impossible to look away. "I suspected," he admitted, each word deliberate, "but I wanted to be certain. I could not risk your hearts or mine on a shadow. The necklace had become more than a simple token. It was a key unlocking years of misunderstanding, a bridge over the chasm of doubt that had grown between them. Sophie's mind raced through every encounter, every fleeting glance, every word left unsaid. Had she misjudged him? Could love endure after so many assumptions, so many half-truths? Benedict's jaw tightened. He took a slow step closer, careful not to crowd her, yet the intensity in his gaze made it impossible to look away. He assumed, he admitted, each word deliberate, but I wanted to be certain. I could not risk your hearts or mine on a shadow. The necklace had become more than a simple token. It was a key unlocking years of misunderstanding, a bridge over the chasm of doubt that had grown between them. Sophie's mind raced through every encounter, every fleeting glance, every word left unsaid. Had she misjudged him? Could love endure after so many assumptions, so many half-truths? Benedict's jaw tightened. He took a slow step closer, careful not to crowd her, yet the intensity in his gaze made it impossible to look away. He assumed, he admitted, each word deliberate, but I wanted to be certain. I could not risk your hearts or mine on a shadow. But even in this intimate moment, danger lingered. Mrs. Wilson's shadow loomed large, her instructions echoing in Benedict's mind to monitor Sophie, to ensure that the boundaries were not crossed. Every word they exchanged, every stolen glance, had the potential to unravel not just their emotions, but the delicate social fabric surrounding them. "We cannot afford mistakes," he whispered, almost to himself, as if speaking to the walls. Sophie's eyes met his, questioning. "Not now," she said softly, "but someday we will." Outside, the house held its own secrets. Whispers of gossip, the faint shuffle of servants, the inevitable prying eyes of the ton. It all threatened to intrude upon their fragile moment of reconciliation. Every laugh, every footstep outside the room was a subtle reminder that their world was never entirely their own. Sophie's heart ached with the knowledge that while they had each other, the world beyond these walls was relentless. Every gesture of love was shadowed by social expectations, every confession threatened by the lurking judgment of those who waited to see them falter. Yet, in that fleeting intimacy, there was hope. Benedict's hand lingered briefly over hers, a silent promise that despite the obstacles, they would find a way. Every line of tension in his face, every hesitation was a reflection of the struggle between desire and duty. And Sophie, feeling the cool silver against her heart, realized that this moment was not just about a necklace. It was about claiming their truth amidst a world that often sought to deny it. Just as the tension began to ebb, a sudden noise from the corridor froze them both. The key to their fragile peace had been returned, yet the threat of discovery loomed larger than ever. Was someone watching them? Had their private reconciliation already been compromised? Or was there an even darker twist waiting to emerge from the shadows of the Bridgerton household? The soft creak of the corridor floorboards outside was enough to make Sophie and Benedict freeze, their hearts pounding like drumbeats in the quiet room. Every moment of vulnerability now felt exposed, as if the walls themselves could betray them. Sophie's fingers tightened instinctively around the pendant, her lifeline of reassurance, while Benedict's jaw set with a mixture of defiance and caution. One wrong word, one careless movement, and the fragile trust they had been painstakingly rebuilding could shatter in an instant. "You must understand," Benedict whispered, his voice low and deliberate, "that this is not just about the necklace. It is about every word left unspoken, every suspicion that has lingered between us." His gaze bore into hers, unwavering and intense. Sophie felt a mixture of comfort and apprehension. Comfort because he was here, present and unwavering. Apprehension because she knew the world outside their private walls would not pause for their reconciliation. She had longed for a moment like this, but the fear of it slipping through their fingers was almost unbearable. Sophie's thoughts drifted back to the masquerade, the night everything had begun. That night, when her heart had first faltered for him, she had seen him, not the reputation, not the scandal, but the man beneath. And now, with the pendant resting against her chest, the memory burned brighter. "Benedict," she murmured, "all these years, did you ever doubt me?" The vulnerability in her voice was raw, unshielded. Benedict's response was careful, measured, yet edged with honesty.